Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at command and control servers. Command and control servers, often abbreviated and written as C&C servers or simply C2 servers, play an important role in modern day cyber attacks. It's a centralized system or a place that is controlled by an attacker and is used for things like managing infected devices, to store additional malware or tools, and a place to send exfiltrated data. Essentially, it acts as the control hub for their malicious activities. So let me give you an example of how these command and control servers work. First, let's look at how malware can use command and control servers. When a computer becomes infected with malware, that malware will often need to install updates, download additional malware, or even get instructions on what to do next. Malware that downloads additional payloads is known as downloader malware. So once malware is installed, it contacts the command and control server which has been coded into the malware, effectively phoning home. From there, the attacker can send commands to the infected systems to download additional files and give further instructions. And this makes perfect sense. Imagine for a second that you are an evil computer hacker. You develop some malware and release it to the world. Then you create some enhancements and add new features, or you fix some bugs. You won't want to go back through the hassle of spreading the new updated version of your malware. After all, you have infected victims already. This is where command and control servers come in. You develop your malware to regularly check in with a command and control server that you control. Then, when you create your latest and greatest version of your malware, you can just push out the updates via your command and control server. It's the exact same principles used in a lot of legitimate software. For example, think about the servers that Microsoft and Apple use to send updates. Just as your computer regularly contacts the Microsoft or Apple servers to get instructions and updates, compromised systems reach out to command and control servers to receive commands and updates from the attackers, ensuring the malware operates as intended. As well as being a place to store updates and to send instructions, command and control servers are used as a place to send stolen data. For example, if the malware has been designed to steal your personal information, like credit card details and login credentials, it needs a place to send it. If a hacker gains access to a business and they find sensitive business secrets that they want to steal, again, they're gonna need somewhere to send it. This is another way command and control servers are used. The data is sent to the server, ready for the attacker to collect. Now we know why command and control servers are used, let's look at some of the different types. Command and control servers take many different forms. In the beginning, they were pretty simple, but because they were simple, it made detecting and blocking them pretty easy. It also made taking down the infrastructure a lot easier for the authorities. So attackers have become increasingly creative in their methods to avoid detection. Here are a couple of common types of command and control servers. First, we have the traditional command and control server. These are standard servers hosted on compromised websites or dedicated infrastructure. Attackers use these servers to directly communicate with their malware, send commands, and to receive data. They often use techniques like encryption to hide their activities from network monitoring tools. Attackers will unlikely use a single server IP address to act as a command and control server, as this would be too easy to stop. Often they will use a number of tactics to avoid detection. Things such as frequently changing the server's IP address, changing the domain names, using proxy servers to mask the true location, and using what we call bulletproof hosting services that are less likely to comply with takedown requests. Now let's talk about one you might not expect. In recent years, attackers have started to use social media platforms like X, Facebook and Instagram for their command and control server communications. They create accounts and then post encoded commands in tweets or messages. The malware is then programmed to monitor these accounts and then decode the commands hidden in plain sight. This method works because when looking at network traffic, there isn't really anything suspicious about seeing an X or a Facebook URL, right? A great example of this is when the security company Trend Micro discovered a piece of malware that downloaded memes from an X profile. The memes looked harmless, but actually contained hidden instructions from the malware. The last type I'll mention is peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer command and control servers do not rely on a central server. Instead, using multiple infected systems, each system can act as both a client and a server. Commands are then passed between the infected systems, making it harder to disrupt the command and control infrastructure. This decentralized approach increases resilience and complicates takedown efforts. That said, it also makes it much more difficult to send messages accurately to the devices when compared to the centralized model. This video is part of our Security Plus in 31 Days course. If you like this video, you are gonna love the full course. Not only does it cover each exam topic in simple and easy to understand videos, but it also provides hands-on labs. These labs guide you through practical tasks like creating Trojans, cracking passwords, and sending your own phishing emails, giving you real-world experience and making your studies that much more engaging and effective. It doesn't stop there though. You also get a copy of our Security Plus in 31 Days ebook, which follows the course and covers each topic. You'll also get access to helpful downloads to support your learning, a private community where you can connect with fellow learners, and exclusive discounts. It really is the complete package to guide you through your Security Plus journey. Check it out in the description below. Okay, a command and control server is a centralized point for managing compromised systems, updating malware, and storing stolen data. Let's end with a couple of quiz questions just to make sure that you took everything in. Question 1. Which of the following best describes the role of a command and control server in cyber attacks? A remote server used by attackers to overwhelm a target system. B, a centralized system controlled by attackers to manage infected devices, deploy malware updates, and collect stolen data. C, a server that attackers use to monitor and intercept network traffic for reconnaissance without affecting systems. D, a system used by attackers to redirect traffic to malicious websites. The answer is B. A command and control server is the central hub for controlling infected devices, pushing malware updates, and storing exfiltrated data. Okay, question 2. Which method do attackers commonly use to prevent detection of their traditional command and control servers? A, using a fixed IP address within a commonly trusted IP range to reduce suspicion. B, using encrypted email channels to communicate directly with infected systems. C, hosting on reputable hosting providers to avoid IP blacklists. D, changing the server's IP address and domain names to avoid detection. The answer is D. To avoid detection and prevent takedowns, attackers often rotate IP addresses and domains associated with their command and control server, making it more difficult for the defenders to track. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. The support from you guys really does help this channel grow. Other than that, thank you for watching.